And take 5 more deep breaths here to ground on your mat. Allow any tension from your neck, your shoulders, and your body just to dissolve away. As you become completely present here now with your breath on your mat in this moment. Allowing everything else just to dissolve away. With your hands into your knees, you can gently allow your eyes to open. As we gently move into a seated cat-cow, you're going to hold your knees and round your spine as you curl back off your sit bone and just feel a good stretch across your upper back and shoulder blades. And as you inhale, sit forwards on your sit bones, lift your chest, broaden your collarbones. So you're squeezing your shoulder blades together so we feel a nice stretch through the front of your body. Breathing in. And as you exhale, round and curl back. I'm just going to use this time to check into your body and move in a way that feels good for you this evening. Your inhale brings you forwards to lift your chest, arch your spine and broaden your collarbones. And your exhale rounds to curl you back, stretching through the whole back line of your body. And let's move with our breath as we inhale, come forwards, lift the chest. And exhale as you round and curl back. Continue for 2 more rounds with your breath as we inhale, draw forwards. And exhale, round and curl back. Beautiful. 1 more round. Moving with your breath, feeling into your body. And then slowly and gently coming back up to sitting nice and tall. Beautiful. We're going to take your feet out in front of you. Just ground your feet about hip distance apart out in front. So because we're working towards our warrior 3 today, we're going to focus quite a lot on the back of the legs and warming up our hamstrings. So taking hold of the back of your right knee and thigh, sitting up fairly upright and tall if that feels comfortable for you. Good. And then gently start to bend and stretch your right knee. So here we can start to feel that stretch in the back of the leg, moving into those hamstrings. Muscles that we'll be focusing on today towards our peak pose, warrior 3. And just keep your breath flowing as we slowly start to ease into these parts of the body. Beautiful. From here, holding your knee nice and tight, roll back on your sit bones and slowly begin to lower down onto your back, nice and slow. Good, and then still holding the back of your knee, relax your head and shoulders onto the mat. And continue to bend and stretch that knee. Those muscles might be feeling a little bit tight, and it doesn't matter if your leg doesn't fully straighten. Just slowly ease in. And keep your breath flowing. We're going to prepare to roll back up to where we started. So with the knee bent, gaze forwards, roll yourself back up to sitting. Well done. And then ground through both feet. Let's feel it on the other side. So take hold of the back of the left knee and thigh. And then just starting to bend and stretch that knee. One side might feel completely different to the other side, which is completely normal. Just keep your breath flowing and just feel into those hamstrings. Beautiful. Nice. We slowly prepare to roll this back now. So holding onto the back of the thigh tightly, round and curl back through your spine slowly as you can. release into the back. And then lower your head and shoulders onto the mat, soften your neck fully. And then here, continue to bend and stretch that left knee. Do whatever feels good, just easing into those muscles. Leg might not straighten yet, that's all good. Lovely. Nice deep breaths here. Breathing through your body. Nice. And then slowly you're going to hug that left knee into your chest. Bring your right knee up to meet your left knee and just hug both knees into your body. Give yourself a nice big hug. Feel your lower back releasing into the ground. And it might feel good to do a little rock from side to side. Or you can stay centered if that feels better for you today. And just feel that release into your back. Now, if you have a strap, you can have one handy and pop it over the right ball of your foot. If you don't have a strap, don't worry about it. You can just hold the back of that right knee again. Or maybe you walk your hands up the right leg a little bit higher. All right? If you're using your strap, you can pop the strap over the ball of your foot and then use your strap to draw that right leg in. Yes. If this is feeling very tight today, you can keep your bottom left knee bent. That'll make it a little bit easier. But if you're looking for a bit more of a stretch, you can straighten your left bottom leg down along the mat. So just kind of explore where that feels good for you this evening. See now, maybe that leg straightens out a little bit more. Flex your toes back towards you. So it feels like you're pressing your heel away and up towards the ceiling. And still keeping that easy sense through the neck and shoulders. Take a few deep breaths here. Lovely. Be prepared to change legs. You can pop your left foot into the strap and change, or simply hold onto your left leg. Repeat what you did on the first side, holding either back of knee, calf, ankle, wherever you take hold today. Good. Bottom leg can be bent for a slightly easier stretch, or bottom leg straight if you want a little bit more. All right. Flex those left toes back towards you. Feel like you're pressing your heel away from you. Maybe that left leg is ready to straighten a little bit more. Only going as far as what feels comfortable. Don't force anything. It's the first few moments of this course. Don't force. Just be where you are today. And just be content and happy with where you are. Nice deep breaths here. Lovely. If you're using a strap, you can remove your strap and pop it off to the side. Straighten both legs down along the floor. And just maybe take a moment to just realign yourself here on your mat. Bring your arms down to your sides. Palms can face up or down. And just feel nice and even through right and left side of your body. Relax your back into the mat. Now with your right leg strong, straight and active, reach your right leg straight up towards the ceiling. So this time we're not holding onto the leg. So we're using our active flexibility. So we're using those thighs, those quads are strengthening to draw that leg in towards you. So it's going to feel a little harder. Continue to flex your right toes and flex your heel up and feel nice and active and strong in the legs. So if we look at what our legs are doing here lying down, it's resembling the same shapes as what they'll be doing when we're standing on that right foot in Warrior 3. So we're going to play with those shapes quite a lot. From here, reach your arms up towards the ceiling with palms facing one another. And then extend both arms overhead so your arms are in line with your ears. Reach through your fingertips. Nice, straight, strong, active arms. And see if you can continue to draw your right leg in towards you. So now you're doing warrior 3, lying on your back. Can you feel it? Good. We're going to scissor the legs. So float your left leg up and stretch your right heel down just to hover off the mat. A little bit of work in those abdominals and switch legs. Right leg up, left heel goes down, hovering off the ground. One more time, left leg goes up, right heel this time rests on the ground, and then just bring your arms down to your sides and keep your left leg up. So starting to feel this on the left side as you flex the left toes, draw your left leg in towards you. Feel that active flexibility. At the same time, think of pressing your right heel away from you. So both legs are strong, maybe straight and active. Good. Keeping those legs strong, let's reach both arms up towards the ceiling. And then reach both arms overhead. As you reach through your fingertips, press through that left foot. And then we prepare to scissor, floating the right leg up, left heel hovers off the ground. And then we switch. And left leg up, right heel to hover. You've got it one more time. And bringing the right leg up, left foot down. And then bend both knees into your chest. Big hug. Let that all go. And release. Rock from side to side. Or stay still and grounded. Take a few moments to come back to your breath. So now we're starting to feel the shapes we're creating. Let's play with that a little bit more. From here, roll yourself up to sitting. And we're going to move over onto hands and knees. So you can either roll over your feet or pop your feet off to one side and then come over onto your hands and knees. So if you're working with any wrist issues here and it gets sore at any point, feel free to go onto fists, okay? Or at any moment, just we'll chat later if you're having any difficulties in any of these poses. All right, so we've warmed up the spine already through our seated cat-cow, so we're jumping straight into it. Extend your right leg back behind you, and then squeeze the right leg up at the back. All right, try and keep your weight even across both hands and both shoulders. And see now, because we're working towards warrior 3, if you can square your hips parallel to the floor, so that right hip is dropping down to keep both hips pointing towards the mat. Feel that? Now flex your right foot and turn your right toes to point down to the mat as well. So we can feel that the back leg is active like a warrior 3 back leg. Good. Now, bringing in the theme of balance, you're going to focus your eyes just in front of you on the mat. And when we focus our eyes, we call that drishti. Focus your eyes for balance and then reach your left hand forward. So opposite arm to leg. Go on pressing back through your right heel. Keep your hips parallel and focus your drishti, your focal point in your eyes for balance. Take a breath in. And exhale, crunch, knee and elbow together and round through your spine. And inhale, reach out through fingers and back heel. Good, let's do that 2 more times. Exhale to crunch, knee and elbow together, around the spine. And inhale as you kick out and reach. One last time, exhale, knee and elbow to crunch. Inhale as you kick out and reach. Keep your right leg up at the back. Ground your left hand. Feel that active warrior 3 back leg one more time. And now take a big step forwards with your right foot. Move your right hand out the way, it makes it much easier to step. And then shuffle your foot forwards a little bit so you're bringing your right knee to stack over your right ankle. And we come into a low lunge. Good. Be on your fingertips here to keep a sense of lift in your chest. And breathe to ground. Good. Breathe in, and on your exhale, rock back into a half split. So we're straightening that right leg, flexing right toes up towards the ceiling, again, stretching hamstrings. And inhale back into low lunge. Exhale as you rock back to half split. Good, see if you can scissor your hips so you're keeping the pelvis Nice and straight here. Inhale, move forwards to low lunge. One last time. Exhale, rock it back to half split. Maybe straightening that right knee a little bit more. Let's take a few breaths here, and you might want to just point and flex your right ankle just to help you ease into that stretch. Keep your breath flowing. And maybe a sense of lengthening in the spine. Nice. Good. Move back into your low lunge position. Ground your hands a little bit closer towards you because we're kicking back. So we come back to all fours. Right leg extends back. Flex the foot, hips parallel, strong, straight, active back leg. And then release back onto all fours. Good, well done. Shake it out if you need to. Let's bring that around to the legs. Left leg extending back. Squeezing that leg up in the back. So let's think about warrior three here. Hips parallel to the mat. Press through the back heel, flex the toes down to the floor. Good, strong, straight, active back leg. Nice, so when we do that later on, you're gonna know what that back leg should feel like straight away. Right hand reaches forwards this time, and you're focusing your eyes, your drishti, for balance. Take a breath here, feel your balance. And then exhale, we crunch knee and elbow together, rounding the spine. And inhale as you kick out and reach through fingers and flex through the back heel. Two more times. Exhale to round. Inhale to kick out and reach. And one last time. Exhale to crunch. Inhale as we kick out and reach, holding it there. Bring your right hand back to the mat. Squeeze that left leg up one more time. Can you feel your bum is working? Good, glutes are engaged. And now take a big step forwards with that left foot. Move your left hand out the way. It makes it so much easier. And then shuffle that foot through a little bit if you need to. So your knees now stacked over the ankle. On your fingertips, take a breath here to settle into that lunge. Nice. Breathe in. And on our exhale, we rock back to half split, straightening the left knee, flexing left toes up. Inhale to low lunge. Exhale, rock it back, half split. Good, working those hamstrings once again. One more time, inhale to come forwards. And exhale, we rock it back. Holding in the stretch, let's point and flex your left ankle. And keep your breath flowing. So you can see we're really honing in on certain parts of the body for our purpose and theme of our class. Nice. And then moving back into low lunge. Round your hands a little bit closer towards you and kick your left leg back at the back. Active, strong, straight back leg. Breathe in. And then release it back onto all fours. Well done. Let's take a little child's pose because we're easing in today. Big toes together, knees apart. Set your hips down towards your heels and then soften your arms forwards, releasing your forehead to the mat. Or wherever this feels comfortable for you. And as you know from most yoga classes, at any point in the class, if you feel like you're taking strain, or you're overheating, or if you just need a little break, please feel free to come to this pose at any point, or any rest position. Breathing here, just soften into your body. Come back to your breath. Come back to that intention you set at the beginning of the class. Lovely. And now slowly come back up onto your hands and knees, returning back to all fours. All right, so we're going to find plank. And the best way we can find plank is actually from this tabletop position. So what you want to be aware of is spreading your fingers and your hands. I like to have the pointer finger pointing forwards So pointer finger shooting to the front of the mat. And then the rest of the fingers are spread out from there. So that might feel a little bit turned out. Of course, do whatever feels best for your body. Your shoulders are stacked above your wrists, so we want to keep them there. Step your right foot back and tuck the toe. Now pretty much your shoulders and your back and your pelvis stays exactly where it is now. As you step your right foot back to meet feet hip distance apart and find your plank. Good, take a breath there. And now without moving your feet in, keep your hands and feet where they are. Slowly push into your hands as you move your hips into downward dog. Resist the urge to walk your heels in closer. This might feel a little bit longer than what you're used to in your downward dog. And we'll talk about why we do it this way loads this weekend. And if you want to just pedal out your feet, or bend and stretch your knees, or do whatever feels good in your first downward dog of the day. Might be feeling a little bit longer than normal, just explore it. Do what feels best for you, always. And then come to breathe here in your downward dog. Most important in downward dog is to lift your hips up to the ceiling. So if your hamstrings are a little bit tighter today, bend your knees a little bit. You can try this even if they're feeling pretty long. Lift your tailbone up as high as possible. And then keeping the hips that high, begin to straighten out your legs. Push into your hands so your arms are nice and strong and active. And relax your neck. Let's slowly just walk our feet forwards to the top of the mat. So we come to standing with our feet between the hands. Bring your hands to your shins for a halfway lift and lengthen your spine. Try not to crunch your neck here, keep your neck in line with the spine. And as you exhale, forward fold and just relax the head down fully. Coming up to standing. Inhale as you reach up through your arms. Stretch your fingertips up towards the ceiling. Take a really nice reach. And then relax your arms down to your sides and take a moment just to ground here in your Tadasana mountain pose. Palms are facing forwards. Toes are spreading wide. And just feel that you're grounding through the soles of your feet. Come back to your breath. Back to that sense of ease. Beautiful. Let's inhale, reach both arms up, stretching up through those fingertips, and nice and slowly, the slower you move, the more you get. Slowly forward fold. Feel when you're slowly forward folding, how the backs of your legs are really working, stretching, and working at the same time. Lovely. Relax your hands to the ground. If you need to bend your knees a little bit to get your hands to the floor, that's perfectly fine. Relax your neck. Bring your hands to your shins for a halfway lift. Press chest forwards and lengthen your spine. And then exhale to ground your hands and take a step back into your plank. So again, look at your fingers. Are your fingers spreading wide? Stack your shoulders over your wrists. Good, nice, strong, straight, active legs. And from here, we're just going to push straight back into downward facing dog. Good. So we don't always need to flow through chaturanga and upward dog and downward dog. We can customize our sun salutation to suit whatever practice we're doing on the day. Take a few breaths here in your downward dog. And again, think of lifting your hips up nice and high. It's not important for your heels to touch the ground. It's more important to get your hips up high. So if you need to take a little bend in the knees in order to lift your hips, then feel free to do so. Push into your hands so you really feel like your arms are pushing the ground away from you. Lovely. From here, reach your right leg up for three-legged dog. We're going to be strict today. We're going to square the hips parallel to the mat. Flex the back foot and turn your toes down towards the floor. So it's resembling, again, a warrior three back leg. Take a breath in. And exhale, bring knee to nose as you rock your weight forwards into your hands. And inhale, kick back, three-legged dog. Hips are straight, foot is flexed, nice, strong, active back leg. Two more like this. Exhale to rock forwards. Inhale to kick back. Exhale to rock forwards. Inhale as you kick back. This time, take a big step forwards between your hands. Again, move your right hand out the way. It makes it easier to step. Good. So before we come up, check, is your right knee stacked over your right ankle? Back leg straight and you're on the ball of the back foot. From here, squeeze thighs together so you feel nice and strong and stable. And inhale, reach arms up for high lunge. Nice. Focus your eyes for balance. Good, beautiful. Straighten your front leg. And now again, slowly forward fold for pyramid. As you do, squeeze right hip back, left hip forwards. Hug your thighs together for stability and balance. And see how slowly you can come down and feel how that's working that front leg, working into those hamstrings. Good, when you're ready, bring your hands to the mat. And if you need to, you can bend that front knee a little bit if those hands don't quite touch the floor. Well done. Inhale, bend your right knee just to soften. And exhale, push back to straighten the right knee, pyramid pose. Big stretch now. Two more like this. Inhale to bend the right knee. Exhale, push back to pyramid. Beautiful. One more time. Inhale to bend. Exhale to stretch. Hold there for one more breath. And think of lengthening your spine forwards. Squaring off your hips, right hip back, left hip forwards. Stretching into those hamstrings. Bend the front knee, ground your hands and sweep your right leg back into three-legged dog. Again, strong, straight, active back leg. Flex the foot down to the floor. And release back into your downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here to ground. Check in with your body. On the other side, you take the left leg up for three-legged dog. And we're flexing the foot, squaring the hips and pushing through the heel. Feeling that warrior three back leg. Exhale, we rock forwards, knee to nose. Inhale to kick back, three-legged dog. Exhale, rocking forwards for two. Inhale to kick it back. One more time. Exhale to rock forwards. Exhale as you kick back, strong straight back leg. And then stepping forwards, move that left hand out of the way. Nice. So from here, check left knee stacked over the ankle. Good. Focus eyes for balance. Inhale, arms up, high lunge. Good. So you can keep that knee stacked over your ankle. You're working into those legs. Back leg strong and straight if you can. And then you straighten the left knee. Squeeze thighs together and see how slowly you can forward fold. Nice. Bringing in that strength with our flexibility work. Good. Hands find the floor and just settle into your pyramid. Nice. Inhale as we bend the left knee. And exhale, push back, pyramid pose. Two more like this. Inhale to bend. And exhale to stretch. And one more time. Beautiful. Holding your pyramid pose, see how much you can straighten that front knee. Doesn't matter if it's still a little bit bent. Only go as far as it feels okay from you. It's going to be a big stretch now. So you can lengthen the spine and square off the hips. We move back into our low lunge, ground the hands, kick the left leg up, three-legged dog. You know what we mean, strong, straight, active back leg. And back into downward facing dog. Well done. Take a few breaths here. Or take child's pose if that's what your body needs. Gazing to the top of the mat, option to walk, step, or take a little jump forwards between your hands. Good, hands to shins for a halfway lift, press chest forwards. And exhale to forward fold, relax the back of the neck, bend knees if you'd like. Inhale as we rise up into standing, reach up through the fingertips. And then relax arms down to your sides, close your eyes. And just take a few moments to breathe and ground here. Come back to your breath, back to your intention, back to that sense of ease. So we can feel how we've warmed up the hamstrings, we've activated the back of our legs, and we're putting all the pieces together for our warrior three. Let's flow. Eyes open, inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, slowly forward fold. Feel the strength with the flexibility on the way down. Good. Bend the knees a little if you need to here. Relax your neck. Inhale to a halfway lift. Hands to shins. Press chest forwards. Nice lengthened spine. And then grounding hands to the mat. Take a step back into your plank. Find your plank with fingers spread wide. Shoulders stacked over wrists. Nice strong straight legs. And then push into your hands if you're pushing your mat away to move back into downward facing dog. Nice. In your downward dog, go and lifting your hips up most of all. And relax the back of your neck. Inhale, taking right leg up, three-legged dog. Strong, straight, active leg with a flexed foot. Straight away, we step forwards this time, between the hands. Right knee is stacked over right ankle. We focus eyes and inhale, rise up, high lunge. Good, well done. Straighten the front leg. This time, active flexibility. You're going to fold forwards for pyramid, but airplane your arms back behind you. So we're not touching the ground, we're hovering parallel to the floor. Bend the front knee, sweep back up into high lunge. Inhale. Good, and repeat. Exhale, pyramid pose with airplane arms sweeping back. One last time. Inhale, arms up, high lunge. Exhale, we straighten the front leg, fold forwards for pyramid, holding it there. Well done, feel the strength. Bend the front knee and bring hands to heart center. Focus your eyes forwards for balance and step into a brief warrior three, lifting the left leg up at the back. Bring your hands to the mat and forward fold for standing splits. Good. So you're kicking that left leg up as high as you can at the back. Hands are on the floor underneath your shoulders. And we're going to add a little curtsy squat here. So bend the knees and squeeze your left thigh behind the right, crossing the knees over. And then push back standing splits. Good. Two more like this. Exhale, curtsy squat, crossing the thighs at the back, bending those knees, and push back standing split. You've got it. One more time. Exhale, curtsy squat. Inhale, standing split. Hold it there. Take a big step back with your left foot. Turn onto the side of your mat, okay, into a wide-legged forward fold. So you're facing the side of the mat. Your legs are wide. Hands are underneath your shoulders. We're just feeling a little stretch here. Breathe. We're going to turn to the back of the mat, so you're going to get a little change of view. So So walk your hands to your left foot now. Walk your hands around so you're turning to pyramid pose over your left foot. You're now facing the back of your mat in pyramid pose and your left foot is in front of you. Well done. Breathe here. Nice. We come into standing. Bend your left knee. Hug your right knee into your chest as you come up to standing. One-legged Tadasana. One-legged mountain. Good. Here you find your balance by focusing your eyes, drishti. And then kick your right leg forwards, reach arms up overhead. We're making the shapes of Warrior 3 just with gravity in a different position. See if you can come down to sitting on your bum here with your right leg out in front of you. We pistol squat to the ground. Yes, it's really hard, so don't take yourself too seriously, just for fun. You found yourself sitting on the mat and your right leg is out in front of you. Facing the back of the mat, forward fold, holding onto your right ankle or shin and breathe. Well done. I know that's a hard transition. Just for fun. Inhale to reach both thumbs up overhead. Take your right hand back behind you. Okay, with your right fingertips pointing back to the front edge of your mat. Turn onto your right hip. You're going to push into like a little side plank. Pushing into your right hand, right outer edge of foot. Yes. And now flip back into downward facing dog. And you're going to have to just step it out a little bit to come back onto your mat, downward facing dog. Well done. Come back to your breath. On the other side, inhale, left leg rises up, three-legged dog. Square those hips, strong, straight, active back leg. Big step forwards between the hands. Stack knee over ankle. And inhale, rise it up into your high lunge. Good. Straighten your front leg. Forward fold to pyramid with airplane arms. Keeping the chest at about halfway parallel to the mat. Inhale, bend the front knee, high lunge, sweep arms up. Exhale, forward fold, pyramid pose. Nice, feel that strength. One more time. Inhale, arms up, high lunge. Exhale, pyramid pose with airplane arms. Holding it there, keeping the chest parallel to the floor. Bend your left knee, bring hands to heart center. Keeping the chest parallel to the floor. Step forwards, Warrior 3. Strong, straight, active back leg. Releasing hands to the ground, standing split. See how high you can squeeze that right leg up at the back. Hands underneath your shoulders. We curtsy squat to bend the knees. Cross right thigh behind the left. And then squeeze up, standing split. Two more like this. Exhale, curtsy squat. And squeeze up, standing split. Nice, strong work for those hamstrings. One more time. Curtsy, standing split. From your standing split, take a big step back with your right foot. Turn to the side of your mat, wide-legged forward fold. Take a breath here. And you know what's coming now, we turn to face the back of the mat to take pyramid over our right leg, which is now in front. Yes, and just take a few breaths in pyramid, facing the back of your mat. And breathe. We bring that up to standing, one-legged Tadasana, bend the right knee. Hug your left knee to your chest. Come on up to standing. Focusing your eyes for balance. Drishti. From here, we kick your left leg forwards and reach arms up. Nice, strong, active work in those legs. See if you can take a squat to the floor. And maybe you keep that left leg up in front of you. As you come to sitting on your bum, left leg's in front, forward fold over your left leg, well done. And breathe. I know the change of direction can be a little bit confusing, especially when you're at home and trying to follow on a screen. We'll be doing the sequence again, so don't you worry. Inhale to reach arms up. Take your left hand behind you with your left fingertips pointing towards the front of your mat. Push into a supported side plank. And then flip yourself over back into downward facing dog. Well done. And breathe. You can stay in downward dog or soften to child's pose at this point. But you should be feeling really warmed up and activated. So either holding in down dog or child's pose, take a few breaths to ground. Or wherever feels best for you. Listen to your body. Stay with your breath. And when you're ready, moving back into downward dog if you aren't already there. Gazing to the top of the mat, walk, step, or jump to your hands. Inhale to halfway lift. Press chest forwards, watching not scrunching your neck, lengthen the neck. And exhale to forward fold and stop. Rise on up to standing. Inhale, reaching up through those arms. Reach, reach, reach. And then relaxing your arms down to your sides. Close your eyes. Come back to your breath. Back to your stillness. Back to that sense of ease. So now our body is warmed up in all the right places and activated through the back line. We're going to play with our peak pose and entering it in a few different ways so we can really explore it. Are you ready? So at the top edge of your mat, feet together in Tadasana. Arms are facing forwards. Bring your right leg up for tree pose. So see if you can bring your heel to your inner thigh, or wherever that foot manages to stay, and bring hands to heart center. Okay, so now it's really important to find a spot for your eyes to focus on for balance. Okay, because a huge part about balancing is drishti, your focal point. Okay, flex your foot and squeeze your inner thigh into your heel to get that foot to grip. Yes, well done. From here, kick that right leg forwards, keeping hands to the center of the chest. And like a pendulum, swing your right leg back behind you. Again, hips parallel, back foot flexed, strong and straight. And then just tip yourself forwards into warrior three. If hammies are tight, bend your left knee a little bit. It'll make it much nicer. Good. Chest parallel to the ground. Back leg strong, straight, and active. Beautiful. Bend the left knee. Take a step back into high lunge. Inhale, arms up. Okay? So that's one way. Now airplane your arms back. And bring your chest fairly parallel to the floor. But don't drop your chest. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Keep your chest upright. Focus those eyes, and now step forwards, warrior three. With airplane arms, flex your back foot, push through the heel, strong, straight, active back leg, and is your chest still lifted? Take a breath. Big step back to a low lunge, this time ground your hands. Well done. Step back, downward dog, take a little breather. We've got one more option to try. So feel the different positions of the arms hugely change the experience of the pose, either making it easier or harder. Right leg up, three-legged dog. Strong, straight, active leg. Big step forwards between the hands. Good. When you're ready, rise up to a high lunge. Inhale, arms up. So this time we come into it with arms overhead, which is the strongest version. And see if you can feel that in your body. So lean forwards. And I highly recommend keep your right leg bent. As you step into it, bend your right knee, so you're almost in a little lunge. Square your hips, flex the back foot, reach through your arms. And then if you feel ready to, straighten the bottom leg in Warrior 3. Take a breath here, feel the difference. And then come to standing and bring the left foot into tree pose. And we bring it back from the top. Hands to heart center. Left foot to right inner thigh. You're focusing your eyes for that balance. Take a breath. Now feel with hands in heart center. Kick your left leg forwards. Pendulum into your Warrior 3. Feel with your hands in the center of the chest how much lighter that pose might feel. You know what you're doing with your back leg. Strong, straight, and active. Bend the right knee, step back, high lunge. Inhale, arms up. Good, those legs are working hard. Let's go, airplane arms. Keep your chest lifted. Step forwards, Warrior 3 with airplane. Think of that back leg. Lift your chest. Push through that back heel. Take a breath. Big step back to low lunge. You got it. Back into downward facing dog. Take a moment to breathe and ground. Nice. Last one. Left leg up, three-legged dog. Inhale. Step it through for high lunge. When you're ready, inhale, arms up. So we know this is the hardest one now because our arms are quite heavy. They add extra load to the pose. So feel the difference. Lean your chest forward. Remember the tip of keeping your bottom leg bent whilst you get into it. Lift that right leg up at the back. Squeeze the leg up, hips parallel. Flex the back foot, toes point to the mat. Reach through those fingertips. Maybe straighten the bottom leg. When you're ready, come back up to standing, feet together. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, release arms down to your sides. Close your eyes. Just take a moment to take in that all. Feel how the sequence really built us up for that moment. Your hamstrings were super warm. You knew what you were doing with that back leg. And we knew to focus our eyes for that. Take a breath to ground. We're going to begin to wind down as we bend the knees, sweep into chair pose, Utkatasana. And we use that just to come all the way down into a low squat position, opening the knees apart and bringing hands to the ground. Slowly sit back into your bum with the soles of your feet together in a butterfly pose. And just take a moment to wrap your hands around the outer edges of your feet if that feels comfortable. Or if this pose is really uncomfortable for you, hands behind the back also feels really nice. If you're very comfortable here, you may even want to forward fold and walk your hands forwards. So whether this pose is serving you this evening, take a few breaths to soften and unwind. Now, if you're in a forward fold, gently come back up to seated. We're going to move into pigeon here, so you can sit up onto your right sit bone and spin your left leg back behind you. Keeping the right knee wide out to the side, come to sit in your pigeon pose. Beautiful. And my recommendation here is the wider you take your right knee, so it'll be almost to the outside of your right wrist, the more you can settle down evenly through both sides of the pelvis. Okay, so wider the better. And then when you're ready, and if you want to, forward fold onto your elbows, or you can reach your arms forwards and lie into your pigeon. Make sure there's no discomfort in the knee. So those with knee issues, having a little cushion or a block underneath your right bum cheek will really take the pressure off the knee. So that's often very useful here. Nice deep breaths to soften. You're going to slowly bring that back to butterfly. So walking back up onto your hands, sit off onto your right bum cheek, bring your left leg around in front. Soles of the feet meet in butterfly for a moment. We have to shuffle a little bit on your mat, that's all good. Breathe and lengthen. And then we'll take pigeon onto the other side. So sitting off onto the left bum cheek, keep this knee nice and wide, it feels great. And then send your right leg back behind you. And then level out your hips to sit even across both sides of the pelvis. The wider that left knee is, the easier it feels. We chat loads about that tomorrow. And then soften into your pigeon wherever it feels good for you. Good. Remember, a block underneath the left bum cheek for any knee issues is really, really helpful. Slowly sitting back into your left bum cheek, bringing the right leg back and around with your feet out in front of you, shuffle forwards on your mat. We'll be making our way down, reaching arms in front, and then just slowly rolling through your spine to lying down onto your back. Bend your knees and place your feet the width of the mat, feet nice and wide. And then bring your arms into a cactus position, so elbows in line with shoulders, hands resting back on the mat. And then just windscreen wipe your knees from side to side. Nice and slowly to the right. And then over to the left in your own time. Just allowing your body to release and unwind. And then when you're ready for your final relaxation, you can straighten your legs down along the mat. Allow your feet to drop out to the sides. Bring your arms down to your sides with your palms facing up towards the ceiling. Or whatever position feels most comfortable for you in this moment. Did it feel really hard?
I'm wobbling all over.
So there's quite a lot of strength work involved, which we can actually be quite sneaky about and weave into our classes as well. Could you feel that?
Yeah.
Cool. Do you guys have any questions about the class we did? Or anything you'd like to add?
It was awesome, thank you. Difficult, but awesome.
We're in shock. Give us until tomorrow, then we'll have more to say. Anyone, it feels like this.
All right, I kind of feel like I know where Jess gets all of her moves now.
Yeah, we get a little bit guilty for that.
I was like, oh my gosh, maybe I shouldn't have signed up for this. Maybe I'm not as strong as I should be.
No, of course it's going to feel a lot, especially this weekend, but I promise you that you're going to feel how your body is going to change and get strong over the next few weeks. And poses, just remember what this felt like tonight, because in a few weeks' time, you're going to be doing this and it's going to feel very different. I can guarantee it. And it's really exciting and you're going to get so much stronger. And that's really what it's all about. Clara, you've got your hand up.
I have a question about one of the last transitions from the, I don't know what you call it, when you had your hand in the back and then went to the like supported side plank and then back to the downward dog. I just feel like I had to do more. I feel like I couldn't do it in like one swift. I had to like move around.
So definitely your hand is off to the side of the mat like this, and then when you come back to downward dog, you kind of got to step it back into your mat. So it's one of these. So here we have a lot of these fancy choreographed vinyasa classes where we're kind of linking in all these kind of creative shapes and creative moves, and also just kind of have fun with the choreography a bit as well, because in vinyasa we have, of course, all the traditional poses from Ashtanga and Iyengar yoga, but we have the freedom to kind of play with them and kind of put them into our own order and kind of transition in a way that feels good. So that one is a little bit of a fancy transition and does require a little bit of a step back into downward facing dog. So you're absolutely right in what you were feeling there.
I'll put my hand down again.
Who was talking?
Me. I was having a question on, I could feel that my hips were struggling a bit with the splits and also my wrists. So is there any like extra exercises that you should do to make it stronger, or does it just become stronger as you do it more?
You're so right, Marley, because with our wrists, and this is such a common thing, and you're probably not the only one experiencing this, when we start yoga, there's no other movement form where we're on our wrist. Okay, maybe some with the martial arts stuff, we're on our wrists as much. You know, any other kind of exercise, we're not on our hands as much as we are in yoga. So our wrists take a little bit of time to get strong. And what we need to do is progressively load them. So the more time we spend, as you say, on our hands, just on all fours, and then intensifying that loading in plank, and then intensifying that loading in a handstand, the stronger they get. So it is a little bit of a process and it is uncomfortable, but it's so good to know, because everything you're experiencing now, so will your students when you teach them. So you can also, you know, you're gonna feel your wrists and also be compassionate as a teacher to know you don't want to keep them on their hands in plank for such a long time. And also a reason why we're not yet even going into chaturanga. We first need to get strong in plank before we move into chaturangas. So it's kind of like a progressive process. So completely normal. And then the hips and standing splits. Standing splits is really tough. And there's two different ways of doing standing splits, with your hips parallel, kind of like what we were emphasizing tonight for Warrior 3. And then also allowing your hips to open. And you'll feel when you allow your hips to open, your back leg goes higher and might feel more accessible. But we're going to chat more about that pose in loads more detail to come. So we'll check in a little bit again with that.
Okay, cool. Wow, I never actually thought about it. When we teach, they're going to feel the same that we do now. So it's such a great thing that you're actually feeling all these awkward, weird, sore positions.
Sometimes the worse you experience, you know, the harder it is, or the more effort it's taken for you to get there, the more you understand when you become a teacher for your beginners. So, you know, when it comes easy, sometimes you don't always realize all these little in-between things. So I always say these things come as a blessing. Sometimes little niggles, injuries, things you have to work through, force you to learn so much more and be an even better teacher. Thanks, Marley. Matt, you've got your hand up.
Yes, so it's a question I often have when I do the pigeon pose, and it is, I never feel like when I kick the leg back and I'm bent one leg in front, if I should be raising the hips up, so I'm almost the butt's off the ground, or sinking down onto the ground, and you feel like your hips almost tilted. I'm not sure which is the correct way to.
Yeah, so pigeon is a complex pose. There's so much going on there. So what we're looking for the pelvis, and it also depends on your flexibility, how flat your hips come to the ground. So of course you're stretching your glutes, your bum muscles, and a bit in your inner thighs and groins as well. So that also has a play, and the back leg. So ideally you want your pelvis to be even on right and left. So if you're
parallel with the floor.
Parallel with the floor. So you're sitting evenly on both sides. We're actually going to, our class tomorrow is leading us towards pigeon. So we're going to play with it loads. You can also, I mean, like the verse you're feeling where you sit off to the front leg side and then your bum is on the floor. Then you'll find that your hips are actually a bit skew like this, right? And those are those two ones you're referring to. It takes a bit of weight off the knee. So as a modification, I think it's totally fine. But like what we're going to do tomorrow is move into a back bend and want to hold that back foot. You kind of don't want to have your pelvis skew like this with your back a little bit not even when taking that pose further. So ideally, even weight onto both sides of the pelvis, and it might mean that your bum won't be touching the floor, and that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, but feel it tomorrow when we do the class, and then we'll chat about it again. Cool. Clara, your hand is up again. Hi.
Hi. It's just kind of a follow-up question. Maybe we'll go through it tomorrow, because I think what you are describing is possible depending on what the angle of your front leg is. I know that ideally
there's so much. Yes.
But sometimes, I don't know, for me at least, if it's parallel, I can't actually balance so well. So sometimes my leg is a bit down. Yeah.
You're absolutely correct. So that pigeon leg, the more that shin is parallel to the front of the mat, as we've heard that cue, the harder it is. There's going to be more rotation in the hip and sometimes less accessible. Where if you keep your foot maybe more at a little bit of a diagonal, so your foot's coming towards the opposite hip, this will help you to sit more centered. It'll not be as intensive into that rotation of the hip socket and is easier for you to get a stable base, which is going to be our huge theme in tomorrow's class. So it's a great point to bring up. And this is why pigeon, there's always loads of questions around pigeon because there's so many ways of doing it, and our bodies feel so different in it as well. And then as soon as we add more stuff to it, it gets complicated. So keep all those questions in your mind. And after the class tomorrow, let's check in on that again. And I'm going to teach it to you my way. And then we'll see. Cool. Elaine.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to ask you about the warrior position we did now. I find like if I'm doing a lunge or I'm still confused. In some warrior positions, your back foot is at an angle, and others it's straight.
Yes.
So when it's straight, then I end up falling over. When it's at an angle, I'm fine. So, you know, what is, I mean, is it supposed to always be straight, or is it supposed to be at an angle?
Good question. And this is what we're going to break down these variations, exactly what we're going to be chatting about loads this weekend, because they're so important because we do these poses a lot. So this evening, Elaine, we were doing a high lunge. Okay, so that was when you're on your ball of your back foot, your heel was up. And you're absolutely correct. It's harder to balance. Okay, where the other one is warrior one, where the back heel is grounded and your foot is slightly turned out to the side. And that we call warrior one. And it's easier to balance in because your back foot is down. And there's actually a vast difference, more than just the foot, on what's happening in the pose. And we're going to talk about that loads tomorrow, because there's the knock-on effect. If the foot is down, there's something happening to the knee, there's something to the hip, there's something happening to the rest of the body. Where when the foot is up, things are going to be totally different. So I'm going to go into masses of detail with that tomorrow, but you are right in everything you experienced there. And I'm going to cover it. We're going to go through all the standing poses this weekend. So like we did today, the high lunge, the warrior 1, warrior 2, side angle, triangle, all those big poses that we do a lot of. And they are really important because when you start teaching, you're going to be teaching these poses a lot to your beginners. And there's a lot to them, and they're quite complex with the feet. Like we just talked about the back foot and how it changed the whole pose. And we're going to talk loads about all of these. So I'll give you more to come tomorrow. Thanks, Elaine. Miriam.
So my question is something that I've always wondered, because for me at least, thinking about teaching yoga at some point down the line. How on earth do you talk when you are burning and stretching and holding poses
So I think
for a whole hour?
Yeah, it's horrible. So normally when we are teaching live in the studio, and how we're going to get you teaching is without demonstrating like I did for you tonight. Because of the age of online yoga, I'm demonstrating so that you can see what's going on. All right. In a class where we're all together, it's easier for you as a teacher to verbally instruct and only get on your mat and demonstrate when you need to. So we're going to chat loads about that when we talk about teaching skills. And also the huge downside to how I'm having to teach you now is I can't see you. So for me, normally in the studio, I stand and I just talk you through, and it's about watching you and getting you into the poses. Where now, because we're all online and on Zoom, if you get lost, it's easier for you to just look up and see, and it just translates easier in an online setting. But don't worry, we won't be like this forever. And when you practice and play with some teaching later on in the course, you will do it without having to do all this moving along with it, because it isn't ideal. You're not seeing your students. Of course, you're getting hot and sweaty and out of breath, and it's not how we're going to teach you how to teach. But it's the only way forwards for Zoom Live. Okay, Miriam. Does that make you feel better? We have to work harder on online. It's much easier in the studio. Okay. Elaine, is your hand up from earlier? Would you have another question? Oh, okay, she's good. All righty. So I thought we haven't got much time, and I'm not going to overwhelm you with loads of stuff this evening, but we're going to start on breaking down poses so you can see how the rest of the weekend is kind of going to play out. Okay, so we're going to talk about our standing poses. In your manual, if you would like to follow in your book, you're welcome to. And we're going to start in section 1 with Tadasana mountain pose. And this is how I'm going to show you the pose. You're going to try the pose, and then we're going to talk about what's going on and see if you have any questions. All right. Then in the weeks in between, you can go through these poses and practice. And please be aware, at any point you have any questions or anything comes up, or you're feeling anything weird going on in your body, please, you can WhatsApp me. My number is in the WhatsApp group. And from there, you can just send me a picture and go, something weird's happening, what is going on? And I'm happy to work with you a little bit more on that individual level as well. Later on in the course, I'm going to watch you in smaller groups so that I'm going to correct you in all these poses as well. Okay, so we can do them loads. Okay. Have you all found Tadasana mountain pose? I'm sorry, the new copy is not in front of me, so I'm not giving you a page number. Can anyone give me a page number on that?
43.
43.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a bit different. Okay, so we're going to start from the very basics and build upon everything. Okay. Alrighty. So you're welcome to follow in your manual, and then we'll do it all together, and then we'll chat about what you're feeling in the pose as well. Okay. I am pregnant, so don't wonder why your yoga teacher is looking rather large. Okay. Don't normally look like this, but all is well, just so you know. Okay, I'm going to make my video a little bit bigger so it's clear and easy for you to see. Okie dokes. So for Tadasana, this is kind of our grounding position, where we always kind of start in a sun salutation, right? So we really teach the fundamentals of what's going on in the body from Tadasana. So we start off with the feet, okay? Feet together in Tadasana. Of course, if it felt better for you to have feet hip distance apart, of course, that's always totally fine. But classically, I'm going to show you how you do the pose, and then it's important for you to also feel what is best for your body, because we're not all the same. Our bodies are all different. And what we really want you to feel in this course is to feel what works best for you, okay? Because we're all different. So we're going to have feet together. I quite like big toes together and heels slightly apart, okay? For me, that feels good because of the shape of my feet. For you, you might like heels together. So when we feel this, we'll explore some options around what we're doing with our feet, okay? Then from here, always good to lift the toes, spread your toes, and then root down through your feet, okay? And from here, we can always add on a little rock forwards and back between the balls of your feet and your heels, which is actually a really nice mindful exercise to really just ground you down into your feet and onto your mat, which we'll all feel in a second, okay? And when it comes to weight placement, you want your weight not to be too far into the toes or too far back into the heels. You want to imagine almost four corners of the soles of your feet. So the balls of the feet and the heel, and trying to center your weight evenly across the front and back of your feet. Okay, so a really nice way to start, because from here, standing on 2 feet, eventually we're going to stand on 1 foot. Okay, so you can start to kind of feel where that weight is placed. Okay, and then moving on up, active legs. All right, so we're not trying to grip and squeeze our thighs, but you've straightened your knees and your quads, these thigh muscles, are engaged. Okay. So from there, moving on to the hips. Okay. And we hear this a lot in yoga, and we also, and I want you to question the cues we hear a lot in yoga classes. Are they relevant for everyone? And even the cues you hear from me, question, is this relevant for your body? Is this relevant for how it feels? Because we encourage you to really question all these kind of ideas which we're forced to fit into a particular mold that may not be always anatomically accessible or make sense when we look at the anatomy. Okay, so the cue we hear a lot with the pelvis is tuck, right? I'm sure you heard that a lot in your yoga classes. Tuck the tailbone. And what that ends up doing is almost bringing you out of the natural curvatures of your spine, where in our lower back, we all have a gentle arch in our lower back, right? It's normal, that's how we're built. And by tucking, you're almost flattening that curve, all right? So we always want to do what is natural, all right? And I would say move away from the word tuck and just keep your pelvis in its natural position, okay? Then moving on up, spine is lengthening, okay? Palms are facing forward, so those thumbs are turning outwards. So here you'll start to feel, and we're introducing a little bit of this now, an outwards rotation in your arm. Just feel that way you're sitting now. Feel your arm turning out. Can you feel that? Okay, so you're going to talk with Catherine and watch a lot of videos around anatomy. And just so you can also feel it in your body so that it translates, we call that external rotation, okay? And we have that in our shoulders. And where else? Where else do we rotate from a ball and socket joint? I'm just throwing this out there. The hips. Yes. So we rotate outwards from our ball and socket joints from shoulders and hips. Okay, and we'll feel how that works into our hips from tomorrow. So we've outwardly rotated the arms, external rotation. We're going to feel a sense of broadening across the collarbones. Okay. And then think about what's happening in your shoulder blades. Okay, so when we turn those arms out, we're drawing our shoulder blades gently towards one another and just a little bit down. So basic postural muscles. Yeah, arms are turning out, chest is lifted, and shoulder blades are drawing a little down and together. And then lastly, your gaze is straight ahead, looking straight in front of you. And that is our Tadasana mountain pose. Okay, so you can see now, it seems like a lot of information, but you'll also notice that a lot of these instructions, a lot of the ways of moving link onto all the poses. So now it's your turn. Come up to standing with your feet together in Tadasana mountain pose. It's not important to know the Sanskrit names, okay? I will always say them in English as well, but I'm going to say them so that you can hear them if it's something you would like to get to know. Okay, you ready? So with your feet together, if that feels all right for you. Notice if it feels good, like for me, big toes together and heels a little bit apart. Or maybe you like your heels touching and that feels good for your body because our bones are all completely different. Our feet are different. Everything is different. You got to feel what's best for your body. Okay, now lift your toes, spread your toes, and then ground your toes into the mat. Nice, so you're really spreading the soles of your feet. Now close your eyes. And gently rock forwards and back from the balls of your feet as you come forwards to your heels as you rock back. Quite a nice exercise just to ground you here in Tadasana, in mountain pose. And then feel where your weight settles in the center of your feet. So your weight is even across the balls of your feet and your heels. And maybe you want to even rock a little from side to side, and then also feel where your weight is centered from right to left. Nice. And then once you find that center, you can allow your eyes to open again. Now extend your legs, so your kneecaps are pulling up, and feel that your thighs are gently active. Okay, your legs are straight, your quads are on. Lengthen up tall through your spine. Leave your pelvis just as it is. We don't even need to say anything, all right? Turn your palms to face forward. So your thumbs turn out and your palms are facing forwards. Now we've rotated in those sockets, right? Bring your awareness to your shoulder blades. Can you think of your shoulder blades coming a little bit together? And just softly down. Don't force it. It's subtle. And a lovely cue I like to use is broaden across your collarbones, which does that exact thing as well. And then be aware of where your head is. Quite often we stand with our heads poking forwards. Maybe a sense of bringing your chin back towards your throat slightly. So you're lengthening the back of the neck only if you need to. And then your gaze is forwards in front of you. In this pose, we've brought our awareness mostly to our posture and standing upright with a lifted chest and shoulders, blades are moving back and down, working into postural muscles. Okay. And then you can come and have a seat and let me know if that makes sense or if you have any questions. It seems like a lot going on for just standing there, right? So I love the nitty-gritty of all these poses. We're going to go into detail with a lot of stuff. I won't overwhelm you because there's most important points as well. But there's a lot. Elaine.
Thanks. Yeah, there is just absolutely no ways that I can stand with my feet together. It's like my knees go like this, and it's just impossible.
Awesome, Elaine. I think that's fantastic because it doesn't work for you. So stand with your feet a little bit apart and wherever that works best for your knees. So it's not only the feet, maybe your knees touch when your feet are together, or your legs bow away from one another, or just feel horrible. I mean, look at Elaine's face. It doesn't feel good for her.
I have knobbly knees, obviously.
And that is perfectly fine. And this is what you're going to learn so much throughout this course as well, is all bodies are different. We don't all fit into the same box. And how can us, first as practitioners, feel what's best for our body? And then how do we help our students to figure out what's best for their body? And that is the yoga. It's not about being able to do everything the same, because we're not all the same. So awesome, Elaine. Stand with your feet a little bit apart or hip distance apart, because that works best for your body. The reason why, like if we want to get into more nitty gritty, and it's not important, Elaine, so you do what's best for your body. It's always quite nice on your mats, and some new mats come like this these days, and there's a center line through the middle of the mat. Have you seen those? And they're quite cool. And when you stand with your feet, you kind of have your right foot on one side of the line and the left foot on the other side of the line. And then when you step forwards from plank or downward dog, you kind of always have your feet are kind of like this, whether they're forwards or back. And that's why just when linking poses, when coming from feet together, often in vinyasa, because we're joining and linking poses, it kind of helps seamless transitions. But it doesn't matter, because you will just find what works for you as well. Okay, I'll try and get into too much of the nitty gritty stuff. Perfect, Elaine. And please always do what's best for your body. I will guide you towards the shape that's most common, and then we also feel what's best for you. Okay, thanks, Elaine. Clara?
So I have a lot of sway in my back. And so what I found was that it's actually kind of nice for me to rather kind of tuck my upper back rather than my pelvis. It feels like that's more even.
Yes. So Clara, I totally agree. I'm very much like you as well. And I stand in a back bend most of the time. And I have found, like you're saying, adjusting from different parts of the body, not just going straight to the tuck. For me, and maybe you can experiment with this, I think of just softening my ribs down. And by just relaxing the front ribs, because normally when you're standing arch, your ribs are sticking out in front of you. And if you think of just kind of relaxing your diaphragm and softening through the front ribs, it does exactly what you're saying. And it kind of just brings your upper back into more of a natural position, that you're not hyperextending, and to just bring you more into a even natural curve of the spine instead of that excessive one. So try the softening through the ribs. That's the instruction I use for people like you with your bendy back. And it feels really nice because it actually feels like a softening, and it doesn't feel like you're working so hard, and it's like, it doesn't have to be so upright and tight, and a very gymnastic thing and a very dancer thing. So I'm sure we'll see that from a few of the other ladies as well. Alrighty. I'm not done with this pose yet. Dee, you have a question?
I just wonder, how much tension is there in the arms when you're in Tadasana?
In the arms.
Yeah, I mean, is it a relaxed? Are you dropping down the shoulders away, or are you kind of holding the arms?
Good question, Dee. Good question. And you're going to feel that in the next bit as well. So don't overwork, because what we tend to do is like force the arms down, and we kind of pull the shoulder away from the ear. And then that's too much. It's a subtle position. So you've brought your shoulder blades together and down, you've turned your hands out, and then that's it. And then not too much force and tension. We tend to overdo it in our shoulders. And that's going to link into the next bit as well. Very nice, Dee. Did that answer your question?
Thank you.
Okay, so if we want to think, it's like posture. If you could stand there for 10 minutes, you want to be able to stand there. And if you're overworking any bits of the body, it's going to be tiring, and that's not the point. Okay, so now what Dee has brought up is going to really be about the next position. So from Tadasana mountain pose in a sun salutation, the next thing we do is inhale, arms up, right? Okay. Now, when we take our arms overhead in the manual, you see it's called Urdhva Hastasana. Don't need to know that. We call it high mountain because not everyone speaks Sanskrit and your students won't either. Okay. You just got to just say, take your arms up because that makes more sense. Now, what is the cue that you've heard a lot? When your arms go up, what have you heard a lot about what to do with the shoulder?
Drop the shoulders down and put the arms to either side of the ears.
Exactly, Dee, exactly. So again, we're doing quite a forceful movement in our shoulder. Okay, so let's just feel it. Don't take my word for it. I'm just going to just tell you. Let's feel. Place one hand underneath your shoulder blade, okay? And then taking your arm up, feel what happens in your shoulder blade when your arm goes up and then when your arm goes down. Your shoulder blade glides up with your arm. Can you feel it lift? And then it glides down with your arm. Can you feel that? And that's just how it naturally moves. It's like if you're reaching for coffee on the top shelf, you're not going to pull your shoulder away from your ear and then reach because that would be unnatural, right? So feel your shoulder blade being allowed to lift up. So your shoulder comes up a little bit towards your ear. Okay, feels good, right? Should feel totally fine and normal. Now let's do what we've been instructed and told to do. Pull your shoulder away from your ear now. How does that feel? How does that feel, Dee?
Terrible.
It feels a bit terrible, doesn't it? So here again, we've got to question the things that we've just been told and go, actually, well, why? Why do we need to pull our shoulder away from our ear when our arm goes up? Your shoulder moves up with your arm and then down with your arm. Okay, and this is important, okay, not only because it feels terrible, it's kind of pinching stuff underneath your collarbone, which is actually really not good for you long term. And you could even land up with some sore shoulder issues, okay? But what else do we do with our arms over our head like this? When else do we do this in yoga?
Downward dog.
Downward dog. A lot. And how often do we do downward dog? A lot. So we are constantly pulling down our shoulders like this. It's going to lead to in our shoulders, very basically, okay? And then you want to do handstands later on. Well, you might not want to, but when we get to handstands, you actually need a push. And we do handstands with our shoulders, like really pushing up towards our ears, because that's going to help you to balance and get up there. So basically, long story short, is when your arms go up, allow your shoulder to move up with your arm because it's natural. Okay, and dismiss the cue of drawing your shoulders away from your ear. It comes from a very aesthetic thing, like in ballet, you would keep the shoulder down because it looks pretty and keeps your neck looking long, right? But it's not a functional movement and not something we want to encourage in yoga. Go for it and reach. And I'm going to say the next time you do downward dog, push and allow your shoulders to lift a little bit towards your ears, Okay, now I'm not saying do this, that your neck is straining and that you're feeling that your neck is tight. I always say reach up through your arms, but now relax your neck. Okay, so let's feel that just as you're sitting, if you haven't already. Your arms can come up the front or from the side, again, whatever feels good for your body, and then actually reach up, like reach up so you can feel actually a nice stretch into the sides of your body, reaching through your fingertips, and it should feel quite nice. Now, relax your neck. Keep your neck nice and easy. Yeah, perfect. And that is your high mountain. And someone asked, what does Urdhva Hastasana mean in the chat? Urdhva means upward, Hasta means hand, and then as always, asana means pose. So upward hand pose is quite logical most of the time, but not always. Okay, so that is your mountain pose, Tadasana, and moving into high mountain and the start of our sun salutations. Okay, a little bit more to talk about with the shoulders. Okay, so as we were saying, we're talking about Elaine's knees. She has different kind of shaped bones in her legs and her knees. It's very similar to shoulders, okay? And shoulders, we do a lot on our arms, like we were saying earlier. And we have different ranges of movement, okay? How much you can move within a joint in our shoulders. So some might have really loose shoulders and some might have really tight shoulders. It might be to do with the bone structure of your shoulder joint. It's not something that's going to change like muscle and tissue. It's just the way your bones are built, okay? And we see this a lot in yoga, and you wonder why can't I reach back and hold my foot behind me? It might be because your shoulder only goes back this much, and you're not going to reach back and hold your foot as easily as someone that maybe their arm goes way back, all right? There's nothing you can do about it. It doesn't really matter. It's okay. It's just accept where you are. Now your body is built and it's perfect the way it is. So we see this a lot in what we call shoulder flexion. Don't worry about the words now. You'll learn all of this. But when your arm goes up, we call this shoulder flexion, okay? And there's different degrees of shoulder flexion. What's normal is at about 80, 90 degrees. So maybe not even in line with your ear, okay? And what would be a huge range of movement is if your arm goes behind your ear, okay? Again, who cares? It doesn't really matter. But what makes it easier, if you're one of those people and your arm doesn't go that far back, if you take your arms a little bit wider out to the side like this, almost like a letter Y, your arms go further back. It makes a little bit more space. Okay, and it might just be freeing for you that if you take your arm up and it actually feels really sticky and hard and tough, let your arms open a bit wider, and then you might feel that that might offer you more space and freedom in that movement. Does anyone feel a big difference with that for their shoulders? Yeah? We call that scaption. It's in your manual if you're interested, but it might be helpful when we explore poses later on that it's not important to keep your arms in line with your ears. Maybe by taking your arms a bit wider, it feels better for you. Okay, so with arms parallel, it's kind of like your normal. If you bring hands to prayer overhead, it's the tightest. Okay, it's the most restrictive way to get arms up. And this is why often we don't say arms up overhead and then bring your hands to prayer, because it might feel the hardest to get that shoulder into that movement. For those with tighter shoulders, wider feels better. Interesting, huh? You guys still with me? Not too exhausted and overwhelmed by all this yoga? Do you want to give it one more go, just for fun? Let's come to standing, because we haven't got much time. Let's just play. I'm not going to get any further than this tonight. Come to standing in mountain pose, big toes together, or feet hip distance apart, or whatever feels best for your feet. And this is all about getting to know your body. All right, nice, engaged, straight legs, natural spine position. If you tend to round your back, be more upright in your chest. If you tend to arch your back, think of the cue of just relaxing your ribs as if you're taking a big sigh and soften your ribs. Okay, and then on a subtle level, bring your shoulder blades together and down gently and turn your palms out to the sides. Your head is stacked on top of the spine and your gaze is straight ahead of you. Inhale your arms up for high mountain. Your arms can come up the side or up the front, whatever feels good for you. And now really reach up through your arms. Allow your shoulder to lift a little bit up towards your ears. It's perfectly fine. Reach up as if you're almost hanging off a tree so you can feel the sides of your body lengthening up with your arms. Yes, reach through those fingertips. Palms are facing one another. Arms can be a little bit wider if that frees up some space for you. And then release arms down to your sides and release. Well done. And then come have a seat and let me know if there's any last points you would like to chat about there. Not a big pose, but lots to chat about. Any questions or anything else you would like to add? Alice. Hi, Alice.
Hi. This whole, don't drop your shoulders is so, I didn't realize how instinctively I do that. I'm just like automatically drop. So that's something that's going to be something I
the habit, hey?
Yeah, I didn't realize how ingrained that little subtle movement was.
Are you a dancer, Alice?
Yeah, I have a dance background.
It's ingrained. It's going to be really hard to break.
But then I have another question of, going wide. Sometimes I feel like it opens up my chest more, so that I have to like just like lean down again.
Yeah. Absolutely. It just gives you more space, just absolutely more space. And to take your arms further back, which is also going to give you more that sense of opening into the chest. So that's relevant if you have a sequence, like we work towards a peak pose, a pose where you really want to create that sense of opening in the chest, allow people to do that variation of the pose. And we can customize all these poses to suit what we need them to be for a particular reason or a certain person. That's fantastic. Good. I'm going to debunk a few little things like that, Alice, with things that we get so instinctually used to doing, like a habit. And it's going to be sometimes hard to break these habits. But if it works better for your body and it makes sense, then we'll explore that. And always ask and question and argue with me if you want. All right, everyone, that's all we'll cover through tonight. And we'll be going through some more standing poses tomorrow. But now you can kind of see how these sessions are going to run when we do pose demonstration. I will see you at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, South African time. I will send out your Zoom links for the morning. We'll be doing a class in the morning. And then followed by a chat where we'll just go through the course overview. Catherine will join us. And then later on, we will break down poses like this until 2 o'clock with me. Okay, so that'll be your morning schedule. Elaine?
I just wanted to ask, what time are we having a lunch break? What time does it work?
You will be having a lunch break tomorrow, so I will finish up with you at 2 o'clock. And you will have a lunch break. I think the time goes until 2:45, 2:45 will be your lunch break. You'll have a chat with Catherine about anatomy and then watch some videos after that for your afternoon session. You'll get your schedule tomorrow and you'll kind of see how everything runs, but that'll be your break time tomorrow's 2. I'll give you some breaks in between our session as well. After the class, we'll have a little bit of a break, and after the chat, we will as well. Okay. Anything else? If you need to pop off, please feel free to. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, I'll see you all in the morning. Well done, and hope you're feeling more relaxed and settle into your course and have a good, restful sleep tonight.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Till tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.